Hi, how's it going, everybody? My name is Adam Sutton, aka Risen Gaia, coming back at you with some more tips and tricks for how to run your Dungeons and Dragons game. I myself have been a dungeon master for about 5 years now, and I know I'm a more recent player. There's also been a lot of new players coming in, especially recently, and because of the pandemic and everybody being at home, well, everybody's doing their games online. So I just want to give some tips and tricks, a guide as to how to set up and run your game online. This is going to be mainly focused on getting everything set up and making sure you have all what you need, starting from really the bare minimum to just kind of things to add on to your game, bring it to life a bit more. So the first thing that you are going to want is to go and set up a Discord. This is my Discord for my current online game here. This is which we stream every Wednesday at 8 Pacific time at night over on Twitch, so be sure to go and check that out. But what you want to do first, make sure you have Discord, which I'm sure most of you probably do. If not, really easy to download. I'm pretty sure you can run it through a browser as well if you don't want to download anything, but I would suggest just go ahead and download it. All right, so we got a server. First thing we need, we're all set up there. Now there are other programs you can use. You can use Zoom or Skype, things like that. I do recommend going with Discord because it does seem to have the best balance between video and audio, and it's pretty easy to use once you get everything in there. So from there, what you're going to want to do is go ahead and go set up some of your different bots. Now you're going to need a few different bots in order to really run a game effectively in here. So let's get over to our page here. The first one that I would recommend, called Dice Parser. So this bot is for your die rolls. Anytime anybody does anything, that's assuming that you're not going to let people just roll on their own. So people do that. It's more of the honor system. But if you don't want to do that, if you want to make sure that everybody's being, on the up and up, then so we are in. So let's go ahead and select our practice server, authorize them on over there. We are not a bot. Hopping on back over to our Discord, we should now see, yes, Dice Parser has arrived. So now, whenever somebody's playing in there, if you were to go in and type in exclamation point, let's say you want to roll 1d20 because you're making an attack roll and you have a modifier of 5. Put that in there, roll a 17 plus your 5 gives you 22. So there you go, there are your rolls. So from there, the next thing that you may want to get set up. Now this one is very optional, kind of depends on what you're able to get. You don't need to have this. It's kind of just a nice kind of a luxury to have, and that'll be your D&D Beyond. So this is where you can set up your campaign, put it in there, and to where you can have your players go in there, create their characters, and it's a good way to just make sure that you always have easy access to what anybody is doing, what their character stats and everything are. So what you're going to want to do here is, if you don't have an account already, go ahead and register for an account. Otherwise, just go ahead and sign in. All right, and go over here. Underneath the little header there, you have where it says collections. That's where anything that you create or anything that you set up will be saved under, whether it's your characters or what we're looking for now is my campaigns. Go ahead and click there. From there, you'll go over to where it says create a campaign, and hit create campaign once you're done with that. Okay. Now you'll see as under players 0. So click on view campaign. Have this link right here. Go ahead and click copy link. And then all you need to do is go back over to your Discord, post that in the Discord. Then any of your players who go into there, they'll just click on that link. It'll automatically add them into this game so they can then go on to create their characters for your game. Once you get that all set up and you have it linked in here, you can go click on where it says view campaign and then click here. It says enable content sharing. Now what that'll do is that means that any content that you own on D&D Beyond is now shared with this group. Anybody who joins this group as a player and they make a character in there, they'll have access to any of the books that you've purchased. So any of the classes, races, subclasses, anything like that, they will be able to use it with their character. And other players can use it as well. Generally, the limit on it is up to 3 campaigns that you can share your content with. Keep in mind, you have to be a subscriber with D&D Beyond in order to share your content. think that's about $6 a month, which all in all, depending on how much you're playing and whether it's worth it if you have the content to share, I think it's a pretty decent deal there. The general limit is 3 that you can share with. Right now, due to the pandemic and everything, everyone being home, D&D Beyond has been cool enough to extend that to where you can apply it to any campaign you're in. And once that ends, then it'll stay on all those campaigns, but if you remove one, it'll be gone. You can't take it off of there and then put it back on until eventually you whittle down to the 3 campaigns to begin with. Now, technically speaking, that's all that you really need. You can take that, the D&D Beyond with your characters, or you can even leave that out and just go with just the Discord. I highly recommend that when you're looking for players that you make sure that you require them to have a face cam. Being able to see expressions and everything, I think it just adds something to the game. Some people might disagree or not think it's as necessary, but I think it makes it a bit more enjoyable to see those expressions when someone's being coy or clearly trying to be deceptive, and maybe they give away their bluffs. Just think about it. Really, you can run the game from there. Discord is the very bare minimum, or some other kind of chat app, some kind of video chat application that you can use. If you decide that you do want to add on a little bit something extra to your game there, I would recommend going over to roll20.net. Now, this is a virtual tabletop. So once you get in there, this is basically so that you can put on maps, tokens, things that your characters can actually interact with, and get that visual representation for the story that you're leading them through here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go over here and click where it says create game. Go on down here, put in 5e, or if you're running a different system, if you're doing Pathfinder, or it has a number of different things in here that it supports, so you can just go click whatever is appropriate for you. Throw in a quick little title there, practice game. So once you get to this point, all you need to do is click where it says invite players, copy this link here, and then go over and share that into your group's Discord. And that way, anybody who hits that link there, it'll automatically put them as one of your players in the game. That way, later on, you can assign them to their tokens to move about the map. Now, go ahead and launch it. You'll see down over here in the corner, this is generally where it have a webcam and show you speaking. The software here, it does actually have its own web chat service. I still think that it's better to go with Discord. I think that video quality and audio quality is going to be a lot better going through there. So plus, I noticed that when you do try to use it through here, it looks like it seems to slow the program down a bit as well, because this is all just web browser based. So head over to where it says little here in the corner here for the settings. Scroll down. Right over here, you'll see a couple of different options here. I'm going to put your video size here to names only, so it'll just have that little bar there. A couple of different things here, including what you want to actually broadcast to others down at the very bottom, which I would put disable, and what you want from others, disable. Now that we have that done, don't really need this for the moment. So this is our map. This is our grid anyways. There's nothing on it. So what we're going to need to do is, of course, add something into there. Now for that, I recommend heading on over to, this is the site that I use. It's called Incarnate. Now there are other options out there for you. It really just depends on, what works best for you. This one so far, it's given me a lot of options. There's a lot of different tools that you can work with in there. There may be something better out there. If you do know a better software that you use, hit it down in the comments below. Let me know about it. I'd love to check it out. But for now, this is what I go with. So what you can do is click over on create a map. Now we're just going to do a small personal map. This also has settings for larger world maps or regional maps. We're just doing a little battle map here. Do a 40 by 30 tile. And we're just going to throw something together real quick. Now, if you look over here, if you want to make sure that you're getting things kind of within a scale you're looking for, you can go over and hit this button, throw on a grid. So that's nice and basic. Not too much to it, but just an example here. All right, so we want to grab this map. So go over and we will, almost forgot. First thing that we want to do is actually turn your grid off. Go back over, you turned it on, turn that grid back off there. Trust me, it's gonna make your life a lot easier later. Go over, we'll export a copy of it. Now they have these cool filters here depending on, you know, different times of year, seasons, whatever you got going on, just different setups here. A lot of them are pretty basic, or if you want to give it that kind of winter look or that night look, we'll just go with clarity this time. It also has a experimental option here for exporting in HD, so you can always hit that as well. Makes the file a good bit bigger and takes a bit longer for the download. We don't need it for today's purposes, but it's an option there for you. Now back over to our game world here. So we'll do, and go over to my library, click on this little picture icon here and click on my library, click upload, pull that file up, which it should have gone directly into your downloads, and we'll just throw it in there. All right, takes a minute sometimes, but now something you'll need to keep in mind here, there are also layers on Roll20. So right now we are on the object layer. It would be where tokens, different things that you might put there for your characters to interact with, or, you know, you might find other uses for it as well. A lot of this is about being creative, but what we'll want for the map to make sure that it doesn't interfere with us clicking on things later, go to a little sidebar, click on the little box there, click on where it says map and background. Just drag this over. Now, if you recall, when we were putting our map together, it said that it was 40 by 30 tiles. So when I click on this will bring down any map we add on here. You can see it'll just continue to add them on like that. We want this one though. This one is 40 by 30 tiles. So we zoom back a bit. Go ahead and hit that. Stretch it all the way in there. And so that should be within the same proportions as our original map. Also wanted to go ahead and show the reason why we want to make sure that we don't have our grids turned on when we're making our maps when we download it. Because this is a copy of the same map. This one has the grids turned on when it was downloaded. So as you can see, the white lines there, those are the grids that's made up from Roll20 itself. The darker lines, those are the lines from the map itself. So you can get in there and very carefully holding the right key and kind of move it around, line it up. But as you can see, when you line it up just right here, it doesn't quite match up over here. So it takes a lot of messing with it, a lot of moving it about until you eventually get it to fit, which sometimes it'll fit and you'll get it just right. Sometimes it'll be a little bit off, but again, it's easier in the long run to just do it without the grids. If you have enough work to do as the dungeon master, don't have this extra task. So we have a map on there now. Now we need tokens, things to move around on it. What I use is this one right here, rolladvantage.com, token stamp. Very simple to do. Go in here, you'll make sure you select what kind of token you want. If you want square ones, round ones, a lot of different options. Sometimes what I like to do is I'll use kind of the basic circle one for just regular NPCs or enemies, things like that. I might go and pick something with a bit more flair to it for the player's tokens. But stick with the basic one here. Go over here and adjust what color you want the token to be. And then all you would do is drag and drop anything you want in there. Let's see if we can. We'll throw in there just a werewolf. Adjust it how you want it. Try to fit in the lines there if you can. Make it look how you want. You can see what it's gonna look like over here. Once you do that, click where it says download. And you got your token. Head on back over, same as before. Click on upload back over on Roll20. You would pull up the file that has that token in it. drop it in. Actually, I got that one, so I'm not gonna load a second version of it, but you can see it listed over here. Then you'll just click on it, drag it, drop it in wherever you want it to. Again, you may need to readjust it. Again, general grid size is 1 little square is 1 person size. Now this looks very big from up high, but you'll adjust that depending on how much space you actually need. You can always make it smaller if you just want to be a bit closer to it. But there you have it. You now have a character token in there. Really more of a monster token. Let's throw this guy in here for our character token. Just the way it needs to be. All right. Now, what's next? Well, what you want to do here, head over to your token, whatever token is going to be your player. So double click it. You look through. Now, there are options in here where you're just like with D&D Beyond, your players can go in here and make their character sheets and everything in here if they want to. It's really up to you if you just want to have that added in there. A lot of people, so you can actually use the program here instead of D&D Beyond, but I would recommend D&D Beyond because, I mean, generally things in Roll20, they're a bit pricier. At least that's just the way it looks to me. Maybe I'm just looking at it wrong, but either way, what you would do then is go over to where it says controlled by. Click on that. Now here, again, we don't have any other players in here, so it's just me. So I would click on myself. And now, if we were playing the game, I would have control as a player over this token. No other player, only the people who are assigned to control it. Now, if you created the game and you're the dungeon master, you can control everything. You can move everybody's token. But only the people who you assign to a token can move that particular token. So that way your players can't move around. Your monsters, they can't move each other around and, you know, try to dictate what somebody else is doing. Just makes it a bit easier so everybody knows where they are. One little mistake I did make here is I did not shift layers. So something you can do if you do that, if you accidentally post something in the wrong layer, right click it, go over to layer, put these guys up to your token layer, which we will then follow them there. So now those are your tokens. Now, something you can do if you want to make things a bit more interesting here. Now, keep in mind, this is a feature that you have to be a subscriber to Roll24. That's about $5 a month. Depending on what you're doing and what kind of maps you use and everything like that, if you're doing mostly theater of the mind and maps really only come out when you're in that immediate combat, then I don't think it's as necessary. But if you want to make your maps to where they can explore the areas, maybe it's dungeons, you don't want them to be able to see where every twist and turn is going to go, you want to make sure that they can only, you know, see what's just ahead of them, then you can go over, start off clicking off in here, going back into our settings for this, and click where it says dynamic lighting, and we're going to turn that on. Now, for the sake of where we are right now, we're going to turn on daylight mode. What that means is that they can still see, they don't have to have anything particularly set for as far as like light sources. They still see everything that's in front of them, but this is going to give you more way to cut off certain lines of sight. And I always recommend update when token drop, because that means that if your characters go in there, if they grab their token and just start moving it about, they won't see as if they're moving. They'll only see when they actually drop that token there before it updates the area. Now, if you are going to do the dynamic lighting, you need to go back into here with a double click on his dynamic lighting, and then click where it says vision. That means that this token has the ability to see things. So in the dynamic lighting, it's going to see. Now, if there's the night vision, which is basically like your dark vision for D&D characters, you want to go in there and fiddle with that. That's probably one of the most frustrating parts for me, and I kind of try to find other ways around it rather than deal with that. But if you do want to mess with it, then you can set it to where if you don't have the daylight mode on and it's all dark and they don't have light sources, certain characters who have dark vision will still be able to see in that area. But we'll go and save those changes there. So now you'll see that everything lights up again from that token. If you actually click Control L, that doesn't change anything just yet, but you would see from that token's point of view. Now, what you'll do is go over to dynamic lighting over here in the top bar where you're clicking on objects and map, and then go over to this little icon there, click on the polygon line. I highly recommend that over draw shape in almost any situation. I recommend using something bright. I generally use green, light green there, and go very thin on it. Unless it's something you're going to move. If it's things that you like, doorways, if you have a door somewhere and you want it blocked off, and you want to be able to go in and grab that part and move that there, and build the wall separate, build the door on its own, and use a thicker line because it's easier to grab. But now let's say we just want to make sure that certain lines of sight from one end of a tree to the other isn't right there. So we'll click. You can already see once we close the line there, cuts off a line of sight there. You can see that shadow that it makes, so that when we're looking through that character's eyes, you won't see anything in that shadow. Same thing over here. Throw them all around here a bit. It's a lot of fun for when you're playing, hiding things out of the character's sight or putting things in places that if they don't go and explore there, they may not even notice it. You know, so you can still make something look kind of obviously there, but it's not so obvious that they're gonna see it just because it's there. They have to actually go look around for it a bit. Now, if we go back over to our token, click on him, and it'll look through his eyes, and that's what he would see. Now, let's say if we were playing and you're in a more dungeon area, let's go ahead and build one right around him. To the wall. Now, look through his eyes again. He sees nothing. But if he were to move, notice that he doesn't show anything up and move the token around, so we can't kind of scan, because that's what some players might do in that. You don't turn that feature on there. They'll grab it, scan around, and see what they can see, but you don't see them moving their token. So you only see their token when it stops, when they drop it somewhere. So they can do that, and you would never know that they're looking to see what's hidden before they actually get to it. When you move down a bit, clicked off from there. If you move down, move through it, things will be revealed to him as he moves through it. Yeah, but from there, those are pretty much the basic necessities to get everything set up. Now, again, for the dynamic lighting feature there, you do have to be a subscriber. $5 a month if you can, great. If not, again, it's not a necessity. There are other ways to work around it. It just requires a bit more creativity, but it's an option that you have there, and I think it's a pretty cool one to have. If you wanted to add a little bit something extra from there, one more thing that I can recommend, this is another bot that'll go into your Discord, and it is called Groovy. And add Groovy to your Discord here. Now Groovy is in there. So there's a couple of different things. You can go look over through the commands and everything, but it's pretty simple once you get the hang of it. Head on over to YouTube or whatever other place you might get your music and stuff from. And here's my D&D stream list. These are really more just ambient sounds. You can add in music and everything too. Now, depending on if you're streaming or just playing for friends, if you're just playing for friends, go crazy, find whatever you think is going to be fun in that moment, whatever sets the right tone that you're looking for. If you are going to be streaming, you got to be careful, make sure that it's not copyrighted music. I use music from this guy right here, Michael Gelfi. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that right, but because it's all copyright free, so that's what I go to. But all I would do is go in, probably easier to make a playlist first, go in there, choose the music, maybe try to match things up to your scene or just grab some things you think would be interesting. Go ahead and hit the share, copy your link there, head back over to our Discord. Now, put in play space and put your link in there. You have to be signed into the actual chat there. You have to be signed into the chat to actually do it. So let me hop in. And here it starts playing some music through. We're coming through a little too light for you all, so let's see. There we go. A little bit of music just playing in there. But that's not the important thing here. Important thing is setting it up. Then you can put in loop track, and that way it'll continue to loop whatever you put on there for that particular moment. Like if you're doing just ambience, noise, and everything like that, it'll continue to play that sound until you're moving on to the next scene or the next area. And then you can also do what you have, get a list of everything, and then jump to whatever song, and then it'll just skip over to whatever number you put in there. And that just gives you a little bit of background, something to play with, something to add a little bit of ambiance to the game. Again, your players, if they don't like it, they can always just right click over on Groovy. They can turn the volume down, they can mute it out entirely like I did. It's really all entirely up to them as far as how much of it they actually want, so that's good. It gives them that control on their end as well. But yeah, so with all that in mind, with everything that we went over right here, that's pretty much everything you need. From that point, you can run your game. Of course, you need something to run, so whether you're home brewing or whether you're going in there and running something, you know, something that's a module, this will give you exactly what you need to go on there, get it set up. Again, all your players will be able to join in, view it from directly through Roll20. All they'll need is their Roll20 in Discord, and you're good to go. So hopefully this helps you get an idea about how to set everything up. There are a lot more kind of tricks that you can use, different ways you can layer in your maps to make things a bit more dynamic. Let's see if I can actually, maybe I'll show you guys one, just an example of the one that I use in my own game. This is the one that I run on Twitch every Wednesday night at 8. So, you know, if you haven't already, go and check that out. Not something nobody's supposed to see just yet, so sneak peeks. Yeah, but over here, so here's where my players were before. Now, as you can see, a little faint map there. Now, when they were all previously out of that particular space, you see it more like this, things cut off in there. But see, we also have on here, I don't go too much into this, but this is your GM layer. This is where you can hide things. Anything you put on here, you can still see it, you can still interact with it when you go over to that GM layer, but your players can't see it. So it can be right in front of them. They'll never have an idea about it. So with that, go over and we have a roof, which I can then move over to the map layer. Now from my player's perspective, there's a roof there again. That's really simple. That would be as easy as, basically, let's say you wanted to add one to the map that we made before. So we have this area here. You just go over and grab a quick roof, throw it on there. Now what I would then do is go in, save this image again, re-download it. That image that you download, go in and crop it and knock it all the way down, pretty much like right around this edge here. I just want to get it right in that space, and then that way when you actually upload it to Roll20, it's just that, but it has the edging of this map. So when you go in there and add it in, it'll line up and match with everything else there. That just gives you a little something to work with. See, I have multiple layers here. This right here is actually, then you have the next part, which is the upstairs. That's a whole other layer, which I can then always knock out, and then to them brings them downstairs to bottom floor. Yeah, but that's just one more little trick that you can use to kind of add some depth to your maps and everything like that. But anyway, so I hope that everything went over here was helpful. If it was helpful, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more future content. If you had any questions or anything that you wanted me to go into more detail here, then you can go ahead and just drop a comment below. Let me know what you'd like more information on. The next video that we're going to do is going to focus on if you're streaming D&D. So if you want to take all this that we've gone over today and figure out how to best apply it directly to a stream that you're running, then we'll cover that next time. So again, hope you enjoyed it. You can catch me every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Pacific time over on Twitch, where I'll be streaming my ongoing homebrew campaign. So hopefully you come and check it out. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and either way, game on. Have a good one. Peace.